Good morning, my name is Ellie Sanderson and this is HT Kids News. Over the last few months, we've been following the story of the Israelites, God's chosen people, through a dramatic series of events. God has stopped at nothing to set his people free from their life of slavery in Egypt. Led by Moses, they've been built into a new people. And rumour has it that this same God is still at work in our lives now, even in lockdown. Later today, we'll be hearing some stories of this from you at home. But first, it's time for us to sing to the God who keeps his promises. Over to you.
You say you are with me every hour and day. I know it's true. You say you will stay the same for now and always. I know it's true. For every breath and rainbow speaks of faithfulness. For you are God, our Father. You are good to us. Your promises stand forever. Your promises stand forever. We celebrate because your word is true. Yes, you'll never break your promises. You say you will listen when I call out to you. I know it's true. You say you will finish what you started in me. I know it's true. Whoa. For every breath and rainbow speaks of faithfulness. For you are God, our Father. You are good to us. Good to us. Your promises stand forever. Your promises stand forever. We celebrate because your word is true. Yes, you'll never break your promises. Even on the darkest night, you'll shine your light. Even on a hopeless day, your hope remains the same. Even on the darkest night, you'll shine your light. Even on a hopeless day, your hope remains the same. Your promises stand forever. Your promises stand forever. We celebrate because your word is true. Yes, you'll never break your promises. Yes, you'll never break your promises. Yes, you'll never break your promises.
No, he'll never break his promises. Here in the studio, we've been collecting items that remind us of the Exodus stories we've been following. But now it's over to you. This is the 2-minute challenge. You have 2 minutes to collect 3 items that remind you of the Exodus story. Your time starts now. that must be it. Time must be up. Everybody come back, come back. Well done. You've done a sterling job. A great effort there. Please do send in photos of you and your 3 objects to our Facebook page or via email. Next, it's time for something special. Each week we have heard an episode of the Exodus story, but this week our team have pieced together the entire story for you. We're going to hand over to Hannah and her wonderful travelling acting troupe for Exodus Retold. Hannah, it's over to you.
Oh, hello. Oh, I'm so glad to see you because I've been wanting to talk to someone about this old box that I've just found. It's full of lots of random things, old maps and books of stories and even this, which looks like a maggoty old bit of bread, but I'm not sure. Maybe we could read the book of stories together and see if we can work out what all this stuff is about. The title of the story is Exodus, and on the first page it says that it's a book about God rescuing his people from slavery. Oh, no way! You've been learning about Exodus this whole term. Oh, that's great. Well, maybe you could help me as I piece the parts together. Let's start from the beginning. It all starts with God's people in Egypt. Things were hard for them. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, had made them slaves. They had to work day and night to build his city. It was hard and horrid work. Nobody said thank you or gave them any rest. Life was rubbish. And to make it worse, Pharaoh had ordered something awful to happen. He was worried because God's people, the Israelites, had lots of children and their families kept growing. He thought that one day they might be stronger than him. So he made a rule that all the Israelite baby boys should be killed. What a terrible thing! But God had a rescue plan. He was going to save his people. Watch and wait. Wait and see. The plan started with a little Israelite baby. His name was Moses. He was in danger because Pharaoh was trying to kill all the baby boys. So his mum put him in a basket and put it in the big river, the Nile, to keep him safe. And who found him? Pharaoh's own daughter. Oh no! Pharaoh wanted to kill Moses. That is a terrible person to find him. Or is it? Sometimes God works for good in ways we could never have imagined. You see, Pharaoh's daughter cared for Moses and even asked his own mother to help look after him. Moses grew up in the palace. Step 2 of God's rescue plan was complete. Watch and wait. Wait and see. Moses grew up, and one day he saw something that made him very angry. One of Pharaoh's men was beating up one of God's people. Moses was so angry that he killed Pharaoh's man. And because of this, he had to run away to the desert fast. One day, he saw something odd. A bush was on fire, but it wasn't burning up. Suddenly, God's voice boomed out, "Moses!" Moses said, "Here I am." God said, "I have heard my people crying, so I am coming to help them. I have a rescue plan. Go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go." Moses didn't think this was a very good plan. He made all sorts of excuses. But he realised that God's plan is always the best plan. So he took his brother Aaron and off they went back to Egypt. Rescue plan step 3 was complete. Watch and wait. Wait and see. I wonder what happened when Moses went back to Egypt. Let's see. Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh's palace. They said to Pharaoh, "God says, let my people go." But Pharaoh laughed and said, "No way." And he turned his back on God and made God's people work, oh no, even harder. And then everyone got angry. God's people were angry at Moses because they had to work harder than ever. Moses was angry at God because the plan seemed to be going wrong. Could it be that God's rescue plan had failed? No. God reminded Moses that the plan hadn't failed. He says, watch and wait, wait and see. And Moses learned a good lesson here, to trust God even when things seem to be going wrong. Rescue plan step 4 complete. Step 5 was about to begin. Moses and Aaron went to see Pharaoh again. They said, "You must let God's people go." Pharaoh got angry, really angry. He said, "No, no, no!" So God gave 10 warnings to make him listen. Things like bugs and frogs, boils and darkness. But Pharaoh still wouldn't listen to God. So the worst warning of all had to happen. God said, "The oldest boy of each Egyptian family must die. But all my people will be safe. Watch and wait, wait and see." How did God keep his people safe from this last and worst warning? All God's people had to take their best lamb, kill it, and paint some of its blood on their front door. When God saw the blood, he would know that the lamb had died instead of them. That night, it was just as God had said. There was a loud crying from the palace because Pharaoh's oldest son was dead. Pharaoh summoned Moses. "Get out," he said. "Go and never come back, all of you." God's people were ready. They picked up their bags and put on their coats and walked out into the big desert. They were free, rescued. Step 5 of the plan was complete. But this wasn't the end, was it? Pharaoh changed his mind again. Uh-oh, this doesn't sound good. His army started to chase God's people. And God's people were stuck. God had led them to the shore of a huge sea, and they couldn't get across. They couldn't go over, under, or round. And oh no! They couldn't go back the way they had come, because now they were being chased by Pharaoh's army. They started to doubt God's rescue plan. "Help!" they cried. But you know, God wasn't surprised by all the things that were going on. He had a good plan that couldn't be shaken. He was in control. He always is. "Don't be afraid," Moses shouted. "Watch and wait, wait and see. God will fight for us." God told Moses to raise his staff over the sea, and when he did, God split the sea in half, making a path right through the middle. His people walked through and got to the other side safely. Then the waters fell back with a crash, and Pharaoh's army was swept away. God's people were safe. Step 6 of the rescue plan was complete. God had had a good plan that couldn't be beaten. He had rescued them. And God didn't just rescue his people from Egypt and then leave them alone. He stayed with them every step of the way. When they were hungry and grumbling about what they would eat, God made yummy food called manna rain down from the sky. And when they faced a huge battle, God helped them to win. He gave Moses friends to hold up his arms when he was too tired to keep going. You see, God knew exactly what they needed. He knew they needed to be rescued from Egypt, and he knew they would keep needing him every day. He never gave them more than they needed because he wanted to keep them depending on him. This was step 7 of his rescue plan, to teach them how to walk with God every step of their lives, to watch and wait, to wait and see the amazing things he had for them if they walked with him. God wanted to teach them the best way to live, so he told Moses to write it down. He gave him the 10 Commandments, which are all about how to love God and each other and live in the best way. This was step 8 of the rescue plan, and it was good. But this wasn't the end of God's rescue plan. You see, this story was only one part of God's big rescue plan. His rescue plan that involves you and me too. His rescue plan to come to earth himself as his son Jesus, to live the perfect life and then to die in our place, taking all of our imperfection and mess on him and rescuing us so that we can be friends with God and live with him forever in heaven. God rescued his people from Egypt, and he rescues us too. All we have to do is say yes to him, say sorry for when we have lived without letting him be king of our lives, and ask him to be our friend. So shall we do that now? I'm going to say a prayer and you can say it along with me. Father God, thank you that you rescued your people from Egypt. And thank you that you rescued us too when you died and rose again. We want to say yes to you, and we would love to be your friend. We say sorry for the things that we've done wrong and accept you as our King. Amen. Amazing. Well, I'm going to hand back to Ellie now to see what's coming up next.
Breaking news! Breaking news. The news is just in that the incredible events of Exodus are just the beginning. The God who fought for his people to be free back then is alive and at work in our lives today. But don't just take my word for it. Over the last few months, we've worshipped together, we've made crafts, and we've told stories. And now we've asked you to share what you enjoyed and learned. And here's what you said. This time, it's over to you.
This is my map of Exodus. My favourite story is when baby Moses gets in a basket and when God talked to Moses in a burning bush. In Telly Shark, we learn about Moses, and this is my burning bush. This term we've been studying Exodus in the Bible, And we've been looking at how God chooses Moses, of all people, to help him with his plan. And Moses doesn't like speaking in front of lots of people. And he doesn't think he's good enough. But God says everyone's good enough as long as they are ready to help him. And God chooses me and God chooses you as well to help him.
This is one of God's plagues where he sent into Egypt to let Pharaoh's people go.
To let God's people go.
Let God's people go.
Yeah. And what was the plague?
It was turning the water into blood. But Pharaoh said no. No, I don't know your God and I won't let your people go.
So in Exodus, I've really enjoyed doing crafts and I really enjoyed doing the Lego Red Sea thing. Thanks.
Here at the Dunlops, we wondered what manna might taste like, so we decided to make some. Here it is. It may be a little bit like caramel popcorn, but it's sure yummy.
It's good. In Exodus this time, we have learned from Moses that God helps us in difficult times and that he gives us what we need, like when he rained down bread for the Israelites. Also, we are now really good at doing an amen with attitude. Amen. Thank you for helping us learn more about God, HD Kids team.
This is my sword and it represents God and how he helped Moses, and that when Moses held up his stick then the warriors would win, and also that it's about teamwork because his family helped him hold up the stick because it was getting quite heavy. So the story represents how it's great for others to help out when times are tough, and that God is always there with you to give you a hand.
Very good. Thank you, HD Kids from Bianca. Well done.
Incredible scenes. You know, this amazing story about God setting his people free from slavery may have happened a long time ago, but God is still the same today. If you've said yes to him, you're now his child, and the things that were true then are still true now. We've learned a lot from the stories this term. We've learned from the crossing of the Red Sea that we can ask God for help when we feel stuck. We've learned from Moses that we need to listen to God when we're not sure what to do. We learned from the manna in the desert that God will provide exactly what we need. And we learned from the Israelites that God is fighting for us. Just like the Israelites, we're all on a journey with God. We're on an adventure. And sometimes that can be difficult and sometimes it can be exciting and fun. But no matter where we are, let's keep listening to God. Let's keep trusting him and talking to him every day. Because God had good plans for his people then, and God has good plans for you now. Let's pray. God, thank you that you have made us your people. Thank you that you go with us on our adventure. Thank you that you have been with your people all through history, and thank you that you're with us now. Amen. We're going to sing about that next. We're going to sing All Through History. Over to you.
Noah built the most enormous boat that kept the birds and animals afloat. The Lord was good, the Lord was strong, and Noah lived his life for him. Moses led his people through the sea, taking them away from
away our sin, so we could get to know our God again. The Lord is good, the Lord is strong, and we will live our lives for Him.
So we've come to the end of our Exodus journey, but our journey with God is still just beginning. Next week we'll be starting our summer programme, Bring a Torch. There are great things in store and I'll see you there. We've loved seeing all of your crafts, please do keep sending those in. But for now, this was Ellie Sanderson reporting for HT Kids News. Goodbye.